TikTok on the chopping block, but the axe is still dangling above it. Hasn't come down yet. The Chinese-owned social media app now has 28 days until the next deadline to sell it to an American company or Congress bans it. This would be the third extension President Trump will have granted in order to give time for U.S. buyers to convince TikTok parent ByteDance to sell it. Listen, the bidding for TikTok has gotten really crowded. It includes Amazon, Microsoft, Oracle, Blackstone, AppLovin, and Silicon Valley VC firm Andreessen Horowitz. The business leaders and groups vying to nab the app include billionaire Frank McCourt, who has banded together with Kevin O'Leary and Reddit founder Alexis Ohanian, Tim Stokely, and Jesse Tinsley. But will a buyer pique the White House's interest by the mid-June deadline? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is former TikTok CEO, at least of the American branch, and Candle Media founder and co-CEO Kevin Mayer. Kevin, I remember when this whole drama began a couple of years ago, and you said, you know what? I foresee this is going to be a long, winding, and fraught road, and sure enough, it has been. But do you foresee somebody emerging and ByteDance agreeing to sell the American part of this to them by the deadline in 28 days?
Well, it's hard to see that happening. 28 days, a sale complete, or even poised to be signed definitively. I do think, given what's happened so far and the Trump's administration's apparent love of the app, and he definitely does not want to see it banned. For good reason, I think, actually. I would not be surprised to see another delay, but I do think in the next several months, if not by June 5th, there will emerge a front runner among the buyers. The question really will be whether ByteDance will allow it, and then after ByteDance allowing it, will the Chinese government allow it? And that's the real question.
Will they?
I think it depends on the state of the trade negotiations that we're undertaking with them right now. I believe if the trade negotiations are in a favorable stance and it looks like there's a positive momentum, you could definitely see the Chinese government approving a sale to one of the suitors.
That's interesting.
If not, less likely.
It just feels like you're saying, and you may very well be right, that the sale of TikTok hinges on the trade deal between the U.S. and China.
I suspect it probably does. I have no inside information to verify that. But if you think about the relationship that we're having with China, this is right in the middle of commerce between the two countries. And I would not be surprised at all if this were used as some sort of chip by both sides to improve the deal for one or the other parties.
Congress had a bipartisan vote to ban this thing if it wasn't sold to a U.S. buyer. I mean, how long do you expect these blinks or extensions to come when it comes to selling TikTok? Because, you know, the Apples of the world, the Googles of the world, they don't want to expose themselves to putting these things on the App Store. If somebody goes back, looks at the wording of the congressional act, which is now a law, and says, wait a minute, this is going to rack up a ton of all kinds of, costs for them.
The liabilities in the law are clear. I do believe, though, that Trump has issued executive orders to absolve any of the app stores from responsibility for the interim period before this is decided. The legality of that is above my pay grade, but I do believe that the Apples of the world and the Googles with Google Play are relying on that communication. I think from the Attorney General, that there will be no prosecution based on in this period if they put it in the App Store. They must have very, very substantial assurances to take the risk, which is a multi-billion-dollar risk.
You know, your pay grade is pretty high right now. You are the head of Candle Media, which is a huge conglomerate of all kinds of media groups, including the company that made Fauda, the huge Israeli hit, and of course Coco Melon, those companies, and Hello Sunshine, run by Reese Witherspoon. You bought that. But also, you were the king deal maker at Disney. And we're looking at a landscape right now in the media world, and I'm talking mostly legacy media, coming up against the newer media and even Disney. It's almost like a chess war here, because Will there or will there not be consolidation? Everybody's wondering, will Warner Brothers Discovery somehow take a part of its piece and merge it with Comcast? Or will some form of Paramount merge somewhere? And then you've got the Amazons and the YouTubes of the world who are raking it in. And Walt Disney, those three are doing really brilliantly when it comes to streaming. So give me a sense of which consolidation do you envision?
Well, there will certainly be consolidation. Traditional media is under financial stress, for sure. If you look at industries that have impaired growth rates or even declines in their future, the only way to make to achieve a profitable growth stream is to consolidate, reduce costs, and spread the reduced revenue stream over a smaller base of costs. That's economics 101. It is going to happen in traditional media for sure. And participants there'll be mergers among traditional media companies to gain scale and reduce those costs and try to improve profitability. But there also is the potential for, and I think will happen, these big digital players who are now in traditional media and streaming. They will have interest in these assets as well.
Yeah.
And I do believe you'll see some vertical combinations between the distributors on the digital side with the traditional media, and also horizontal combinations within the industry itself among media companies. It really is inevitable and should start to happen soon.
What's the most impactful deal that you envision becoming the most disruptive to the other players?
Well, if anywhere of the big players, we saw Amazon buy MGM, for instance, so they bought IP in a studio.
Right.
If any of the big tech players buy one of the larger standalone traditional media companies, call it a Paramount, Warner Brothers, even a Disney, that will change things quite dramatically. And I do believe that there is a strategy in place among these digital players that they definitely do want to be in traditional media, and especially in sports. I had my doubts about whether they would have longevity in their interest in sports. It certainly is there. So I think you'll see that as well.
And finally, Kevin, I've got to ask you, since Cantle Media owns Faraway Road Productions, which of course produces the very popular Fauda series, when's season 3? When is that happening?
Well, season 5, actually. Season 3 has been shown already. But
season 5.
Season 5 coming out in, I guess, the next 4 to 6 months. We'll see it out there.
Okay.
And it's going to be good. It's a great show, as you know, so thank you for mentioning it. I appreciate that.
I would be happy to be an early viewer to give you my thoughts and my show notes.
I will. You're done. You're in.
Kevin Mayer, thank you very much. It's good to see you.
Liz, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.